morning everyone, and welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to inside the Ford Raptor. I seem to be doing a lot of these intros inside the truck, but we are headed down to Manila right now, and as the title of the video probably says, we are going to be joining the Miata Spec series, which is going to be happening next year. Super excited for that, and that's what today's vlog is all about. Now, this afternoon, we are going to be going to Mazda Philippines in Pasong Tamo, and we're going to be checking out the Spec series. This is a local club car rather than the global cup car. So we ended up wanting to bring in the global cup car, but obviously with budgets and the pandemic happening, I don't think it was going to happen because of the expenses that were needed to join the global cup series. So Mazda Philippines has decided to launch a local spec series, which is actually pretty interesting because they've taken the essence of what a global cup car is and they've tried to simplify it in a way to make it more streetable and affordable for everyone. So in today's vlog, we're going to be showing you guys what you're going to be getting with the Spec series, how can you join this race series, and yeah, what are the things that are going to be done to the Miata to convert it from a road car into the local cup car. Now, there are quite a few race series happening locally. We have the Radical SR1 series, if I'm not mistaken. You have the Vias Cup, which is happening also, and we're gonna have this third series, which is the Miata Local Spec series. Now, I had a previous ND Miata when we ended up selling it maybe about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, but we were campaigning the car so heavily. We were racing it. Errol was the primary driver in the Miata ND, and we joined in total a lot of races with the car. Over 2.5 years, we joined 2 endurance races, we joined the autocross races, we joined all the Run What You Brung races on the weekends, and the car was such a great car that over the 2.5 years we just had to change the gearbox and the brake calipers and the brake rotors. Obviously the brake pads and changing oils and fluids and stuff were needed along the way, but overall campaigning the car over the 2.5 years was such a great experience because the budget for maintenance was very minimal. The car was just literally an arrive and drive car, add some gas, fix the settings, and then go and race and race and race, which is why we are going to be ending up signing on to the Miata Cup Series and signing on and getting our own Miata base car again. Now, back in 2015, I joined the first Idlers race that I could sign up to. Idlers was a 12-hour endurance race organized by Nakai in Motegi Circuit in Japan. And this was a grid of like 100 plus cars. I think it's 120 cars. There were so many cars that the first corner all the way up to the last corner was the starting grid. So basically you had cars parked all the way in the front and all the way in the last corner just to make up the 120 cars. And we're talking about a mix of cars. We had, I think, 6 to 8 RWBs. We had Super Trofeo cars. We had GT3 Cup cars. We had regular street cars. We had an assortment of so many different cars. And in the end of the 12-hour endurance, I actually went to check which was the overall winner. And guess what? Back then, it was the Miata ND. The Miata ND in its stock form with just some slight modifications ended up taking the overall championship. And I'm not just talking about a few laps. It was way ahead of the game, which led me to buying our own ND Miata and campaigning. If you guys want to check out the RWB Idlers video, I'll leave a link here in the suggestion box that you guys can click. But we ended up campaigning the car for 2.5 years, and we were so happy with it because we did end up winning some endurance races also with it. And the car was so good that we ended up using it for many different things, and I actually can leave a link also over here where I teach Paolo, our host in Rev, how to drift the car, and that was a fun episode as well. So back to the topic, because the car was such a winning car, we decided to try it out for ourselves and see that yes, it was a winning car. And because of that, Mazda Philippines ended up supporting us for the short amount of time that we were racing the car. And the idea of forming a local spec series was born. So in the beginning, I was actually part of the organizers who brainstormed the idea of having a local Cup series with the Miata. And again, in the beginning we wanted to bring in the global Cup car, but being that it's expensive and the pandemic happened and the allocations and the people who built the global Cup car were in the US, the cost of it were so high. I think the global Cup car will end up costing about 4 million plus, if I'm not mistaken, and you still have to import it in, and because it's a race car you can't street legally register it. So there's so many complications with bringing in the global Cup series that Mazda Philippines and a group of organizers decided to do a local spec version. Now the great thing with this local spec version, at the end of the day, if you don't want to go racing anymore, you can actually reconvert your car and bring it back into a local street car where, yeah, you can still enjoy it on the road. It's not a fully spec race car where the roll cage is welded in and everything is gutted out. The local spec series tries to keep the streetability of the car, which is the exciting part, because yeah, we don't need full-on race cars at the end of the day, right? We just need cars that we can enjoy on the road, and the Miata is such a fun car to drive. It is the right amount of balance, power, and just drivability, which makes it exciting. Because I did want to join the Radical series, but the cost of joining the Radical series was way higher. Even though I have a Radical already, my Radical wouldn't be allowed to compete in the local series because I do have the top spec Radical, and that would be unfair for the other Radical users. Even though I'm not part of the organizing body anymore for the spec series, which is great because I now can compete and join the series, I quickly realized also that the value that I can bring to the table for the spec series was to share it with you guys, bring some marketing and awareness, see how you guys can join, see what you get for the budget for the Cup car. If I'm not mistaken, the budget for the Cup car will roughly be about 2.7 million, and we actually scheduled the Cup car to be in the Mazda Pasong Tamo showroom this afternoon, so we can show you guys what you're gonna get for your 2.7 million, when is the series gonna start, and what are the exciting things that you can expect when you join the series. For those of you who followed my very short racing career, it was super exciting to go internationally racing, but because the budgets are also super crazy, I decided to lay off first and just relax. Now it's been roughly 3 years since I've been in a race car and driven on the racetrack, I think. That's why I'm super happy to announce that I will be joining the local spec series, because yeah, this is exciting stuff. The car, even though it doesn't have loads amount of power, it is so light that it makes the car so much fun to drive. It's very dynamic, it's very entertaining. When we drove the Cup car in the endurance race, I did a 2-hour stint, and wow, it was easy. It was so easy. The car was behaved so well, and it was again very competitive. When we did the endurance, I think we did the 6-hour and then the 8-hour, if I'm not mistaken, and we ended up podiuming for those two events. Just a few months back, Mark and his team campaigned the Miata again, and I think they won first overall, if I'm not mistaken. The car is such a great car, especially for endurance, because, you know, gas, mileage, just the durability, and then the overall drivability makes the Miata such a winning car. I think I've oversold the Miata already to you guys. I hope you guys are excited as I am, because I will be sharing this whole experience with you guys and showing you guys, yes, what are the things you can expect from joining this series. We are almost there, and here we are. Whoop. Alright guys, we have arrived. The truck's so big I don't know where to park it, but we're walking into the dealership right now. Going up to the second floor. Ta-da! There's the car. What's up, Steven?
Wow, got a camera.
Of course.
Sparkle seats.
What's the cheapest option?
The one with one sparkle seat.
No, I want a tighter seat. Why are you allowing to offer one Sparko seat when technically that changes the weight distribution of the car.
Some people want Windy to deliver cost reduction.
Yeah, but the stock seat is heavier than the Sparko seat.
That said, you need two persons to carry the top seat. He can carry the seat by himself.
Exactly. So people don't realize by getting only one seat, they actually have handicap.
Disadvantage.
Yeah,
Actually,
small
nobody
handicap.
has signed up for.
Yes, nobody. They're all getting the
Two seats.
two seats. Yeah.
If I pay up front, do I get a bigger discount? And you needed how much down?
700,000 for the down payment.
And then when do you need the other?
Maybe a few weeks before the arrival, I'll be getting in touch with you for that.
Do you allow, like, let's say someone want to rent my car and join the series?
That's for the stewards and organizer, which is another thing. This is a tri-party program. Sports Car Club,
Sports Car Club, MSCC, Mazda Philippines, and Alan Oy. Is Alan our chief scrutineer for everything now? He's the chief setup guy, chief certification driver, and then
he's going to run the racing school.
no headache for me. Thank you, Alan.
Yes.
I just arrive and drive.
It's 8 laps.
8?
Crash the car, you're done.
Wait, you said 10 laps. Now it's 8 laps? I'm getting shortchanged here.
Yeah. It's 16 laps, 8 laps in the morning and 8 laps in the afternoon.
Wow, I'm not even gonna sweat yet. I'm like,
Yeah, that's it.
it's like, guys, I'm not warmed up yet.
But exactly what good endurance.
There you go again, looking so handsome. Oh, you have your way.
Hey guys, so we just finished talking to the team here in Mazda Philippines, and this is the Cup car. And this is a version 2 of the Cup car with actually most of the parts that they're going to be installing for the local Spec series. In Japan, the Spec series is called a party series, which is actually very funny because it's actually going to be a party when there's about a few of these on track. We have about 10 drivers that have finally signed up, so I'm pretty excited to see who else will sign on. Let's talk about the details of the car. What are the things that they have changed with the Cup car? Starting with the interior, let's go with the most obvious, which is the steering wheel, the seats, the seat belt, and the roll cage. The steering wheel and the seats were sponsored, I guess, by Sparko. The Cusco roll cage is there. Oh, in the interior, we also removed the capacitors of the car so the start-stop function doesn't work. They also added a kill switch, which is visible in the interior, and one outside here on the right-hand side of the upper garnish. On the exterior, the mags are currently stock right now, but we're going to have Rota wheels, which was the sponsor for the series. The tires have not yet been, I guess, agreed upon. For the suspension, we are running Cusco coilovers along with the front strut brace and front and rear Cusco sway bar. The exhaust is still under contention. We're probably going to run a Fujitsu catback exhaust only. The center pipes have not been changed. The headers have not been changed. The intake also is running the stock air filter. So for the series, Mazda is going to want to get the Cup car back about a week before the race so that they can do a pre-inspection and just to make sure that none of the drivers are cheating or adding any super special parts to make their car go faster. The series is also very, I guess, very easy and very light in a way where they're only going to target about 8 to 10 laps for the car, which is going to be a morning session race and then an afternoon session. It's going to be a one-day event where you're literally allowed to drive in with the car, but from what I know, the car is actually going to be trucked in by Mazda and you can take it home afterwards after the race. Also for the brakes, we are running stock brake pads with stock rotors. The brake lines could be upgraded to stainless steel braided as well. The LSD is stock, the transmission is stock, and no ECU flashes or no engine modifications are allowed as well. The series is going to be trying to really replicate a same make and model series, which means the only thing that we're allowed to play with is actually wrapping the car in our own color with our own sponsors or livery, and then maybe setting the suspension for height and damping and rebound. Those are roughly the control points that we're allowed to touch as the driver, but beyond that, everything else will be controlled by Mazda. They're actually going to try to put a lock on the engine so that you can't fiddle with it, even the ECU. Sometimes I know these make and model series, they swap the ECU just to make sure that you're not cheating. And I know also if you do win the series, the top 3 cars do get scrutinized again, just to make sure, again, no cheating. Beyond that, it's going to be a fun series because it's a very playful car, and with the right amount of power and the right amount of drivers, it's going to be very entertaining, and I really can't wait. Actually, the timeline for the Miata Spec series is if you order a car now, hopefully in a month or so, you can pick the color of the car. And then around March next year, you can go practice already with the car. The cars will be assembled by Mazda Philippines, so there's no other shop that is going to be doing the assembly. Mazda is the official partner along with MSCC and Alan Uy, which is also my racing driver coach in the Ferrari series. But the cars will be maintained by Mazda and controlled by Mazda as well, so that again, a week before the race, you can actually bring the car to them, they'll do inspection, and then they bring the car to their track for you, and then you can go racing, and after the race you can take the car home. But probably for me, I'm going to leave the car with Mazda just to make sure that it's fresh for the races, and after everything is said and done, at the end of the day, if I don't want to go racing anymore, as I was mentioning to you guys, I can just remove the roll cage and put back the stock seats and get a nice road car. At the end of the day, these cars have sort of a 10-year lifespan. Mazda doesn't really update it as much as the other models, where every so often it gets a facelift and then a new upgrade, and it makes the old car look old. This, on the other hand, only got a power bump, so I ended up buying our first ND, which was in 2017, and it had less power than the newer model. This newer model has engine upgrades, which gives it an additional, I think, 30 more horsepower, and it also revs higher. According to Steven and the team, it has a dual mass flywheel, which makes the engine seem like it's livelier, which is true because when I drove Mark's car on the racetrack versus my car, I did notice that extra power difference, and it makes it so much more fun when you're exiting corners and you have that extra RPM to work with. Let's do a quick walkthrough. Right now we're in the second floor of Mazda Pasong Tamo, and the car just looks so good. Should we order a color in white? This is called Snowflake White. It has sort of the metallic sheen that you see. It's not like a flat white like liquid paper. So should we order this white, or should we go with black, or we can do that red or that blue? So those are the choices. Unless you want to pay special premium prices, we can go, the red is a premium color. We can go gray like our old ND. Off the bat, I already asked them if we're allowed to remove anything from the car, and nope, we're not allowed to touch anything with the car. The weight has to stay the same. We do have this tow hook strap in the back. The front will be receiving one as well. The exhaust is not yet the real exhaust in this one, but we are probably going to end up with the Fujitsu exhaust. Tires have yet to be determined. Brake pads will be stock, but yes, the brake lines again will be upgraded. Height, I guess, is up to the settings when you work with Alan. And then the sway bar in the rear, I don't know if there's any adjustment. I think there's none. Okay, for the interior, these are the seats that they have issued, which is the grid queue. So my main issue with these seats is it's actually very loose for me, and I do slide around, which means I need a smaller seat. very happy also that they decided to change the steering wheel because my knees hit the stock steering wheel. This is the kill switch right there, and you have another kill switch right here. So as a cost-saving option, they actually offer you to get the Cup car with only one Sparco seat, but that doesn't make sense because the Sparco seat is much lighter than the factory seat, so I would get two Sparco seats. Only problem with the Sparco seat for me is that it's very loose. So we're gonna sit right now inside so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but yes, that's my only gripe so far, and maybe a better sounding exhaust with less resonators, because right now they're only doing a catback exhaust, which means it's not gonna sound too amazing, especially when you're on the racetrack where you do want that sound and you're wearing a helmet which will muffle the sound just a little. But yeah, maybe the snowflake white, that looks really good. So I did sit in this a while ago and I quickly realized that my head is gonna hit the roll cage, and probably the seat is a little too high, which we could still lower from the adjustments on the side railings. But yeah, if I'm wearing a helmet, this is for sure gonna be hitting. And because the wheel has been changed, when I brake, I can clear the steering wheel, which is very good. Happy with that. Maybe there's an Alcantara version of the steering wheel. No? Getting nose over there. But yes, beyond that, the infotainment system is on, the air conditioning system is still there. Again, at the end of this whole racing series, you will be left with a beautiful Cup car, which is actually just a road car with all the accessories installed. Mazda will be giving us back all the stock parts like the seats and the capacitors if you need the i-stop start and drive. But yeah, super familiar with this car, and it's such a great car to campaign for a race. Even autocross, we ended up joining one of the autocross events and we dominated it because the car is just such a great handling car. So yeah, seating position. One of the big issues with getting race seats in a Miata is the race seat has to be shorter because of the lower headroom. Okay, let's move over. So here's my main issue. I don't know if you can see it, but I can basically scoot over to one side and have this much space, which is not good. Basically, when you're racing, you do want your hips to be really planted in the car so that you don't do this. Because as your hips are moving, that means your feel of the car is moving as well. Everything else looks pretty standard in here. The cup holders are gone. The CD player is still there. I don't know who uses that nowadays, but yes, that's still there. Shift knob is stock as well. But yeah, can't complain. The kill switch, which is right here, is gonna be moved to down here because not a lot of people want to have holes on their dashboard later on. One more thing I forgot about the interior is gonna have a fire extinguisher somewhere in a range where you can grab it just in case for emergencies, but technically these cars shouldn't catch fire because when we've campaigned our car, nothing really happened. And one more thing also, when you sign on to the Spec series, you do get a racing suit, gloves, and racing shoes. You have to provide your own hands device and helmet, but after that, everything is said and done, you can go racing. Also, there is a certification program. Even though you can afford to buy a race car, you can't race it unless you pass the Alan Oy certification test, which means he needs to see how you drive, see how you handle the car, just make sure that the Cup series is not a derby series. And that's all about racing because it's all about safety. Everyone wants to win, but everyone should win in a safe manner. So let's hear a sound clip of this exhaust. Is this a cold start? Super cold start. Still came. me talking over the mic while the exhaust is running. It's really quiet, Steven. Can you rev it just a tiny bit? Okay. Semi-decent when you're under power. But yes, quiet for our liking. Okay guys, this is the team at Mazda. Thank you. We're gonna get out of here and hopefully in a month we can come back and get some updates. But if you guys want to find out more about this event, you can log on to, I guess, the Mazda Philippines Facebook page. Do you guys have one?
No, it's not there.
Not
but
yet?
information from Mazda Makati.
Okay, you guys can just come here and look for any of these guys and they will help you figure out if you're gonna get into one of these cars. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!